Just departed KILRUSH, about to embark on a journey that will take me solo non-stop around the world. I got a massive amount of support and flotillas all around, my family and the boats behind me. Beautiful.
I am delighted to introduce you all to Peter Lawless. We're all following him on social media and his big adventure of
Solo, non-stop, unassisted circumnavigation.
Thank you very much. And we're here today actually in the bookshop in Valencia. And any of you out there that have ever sailed to Valencia will be familiar with the bookshop and coffee shop for the amazing collection of books. And anyone that hasn't been here, you gotta come.
Yeah, it's lovely, isn't it? Nights down here, it's lovely.
First, I want to ask you, you're home. How does it feel?
Lovely to, well, I wasn't planning on being home so soon, but it was a nice time of the year to come back for Christmas with family, unexpected, so that was lovely.
We met about a year ago, wasn't it, in KILRUSH?
KILRUSH, yeah.
On board.
On Waxwing.
Waxwing, yes. And I could see a lot of planning going in for your big trip. So before you left, you would have had big concerns. What was your biggest concern? Things that you felt that you really had to prepare for before you left?
I suppose like most sailors, my biggest concern would have been losing the mast or my steering or my rudder. I was well prepared for both. I have an emergency, believe it or not, I had 4 steering systems. I had the ship steering, a Whitlock steering system. Anyone that doesn't know the boat, it's a Rival 41. So she's quite robust and had a good steering system. I had a linear drive Raymarine that goes onto the quadrant that would steer the boat as well. I had an Aries self-steering wind vane, and I also had a hydro vane that was originally on the boat. So I had the mounting brackets were still on the transom, so I would have only have had to drop the hydro vane in had I needed that as an emergency rudder. So I was very well covered for most things that could have gone wrong, but unfortunately something else went with the steering, which was out of my control. But anyway, that's kind of the luck of the draw. I'm gutted. I'm just completely shattered.
So tell us what went wrong.
I was about 400 miles west of Portugal, and I heard a bang. I was in bed, and I didn't take any notice of it. and then the boat rounded up into the wind, so I thought the self-steering had disengaged or something. But it was actually an impact to my rudder, which had knocked off the ball joints between there's a bevel box underneath the steering and onto the quadrant. That had popped off. A rose joint had popped off. I only found that out a few days later, but and there was a good bit of damage done. The Raymarine actually got damaged as well. Anything that was connected onto the rudder kind of popped. I had an emergency tiller as well that I could drop in. So I unscrewed a piece in the cockpit and dropped that in. That's what I steered into Portugal with. I chose Portugal because I was nearest to Portugal, and the wind was very favourable. So I kind of ran with the wind in. So I think it was 3 days to get in with the emergency tiller, and I anchored off the coast of Portugal there.
And can I ask, so once you're on an emergency tiller, they can be quite a heavy helm, can't they? Did you find it was an easy enough helm to hold because of the positioning? Could you lash it in any way so that you could get some shut eye, or were you awake and on the helm for that entire time?
That's a good question. She's very well balanced boat. And because I was kind of on a reach or broad reach really the whole way in, I didn't have any weather helm. But I didn't sleep properly for those 3 days. I think it was nearly 4 days by the time I got in, because I got into the very tip, Cape St. Vincent or Campo de Vincent, and I didn't like the anchorage there, so I went up along the coast, which took me another 7 hours. When I saw Portimao, and I anchored in the entrance there at Portimao. So I was tired when I got in. I slept for a full day. I went to bed at 7 that morning. I didn't get up till 7 the next day, I think, or something.
Well done.
I was exhausted. Yeah, it was really. But I because also with the emergency tiller, I had to go through the shipping lanes, the traffic separation zone there. It's quite busy. It's very busy. So I mean, I was on my toes there all the time, and I was apprehensive because I didn't have a wheel. You know, you're used to your steering. But it all worked out good. Luckily, I had everything in place, and I was well prepared for anything that had gone wrong like that. And I did catch up with the sleep.
Well done. And so, at this point of the trip, you were still in the running for the non-stop solo circumnavigation of the world. Did I miss anything out there?
Yeah, no, that's right. I was. I anchored off Portugal to repair it. Which I did. It took me a few days, but I put it all back together, and I even got the Ray Marine working again. Not perfectly, but pretty good. And I got going again. Unfortunately, I was about a day north of the Canaries, and I could feel there was just a lot of play in the wheel. You could move it like this without anything happening. So that would have progressively. I was in touch. I had email facilities at sea and text, so I was in touch with a lot of people in the know, and everyone was in agreement. It will get worse. It'll wear, and the ball joint had got broken really. So I had to make the heartbreaking decision then to stop in. I stopped in Tenerife, and that was the end then of my challenge, I suppose you'd call it. When I decided to turn for Tenerife, and I knew I'd be stopping and going into the marina, that was a big obstacle that I overcame, and I'm glad I did. It wasn't an easy decision, but it was the right decision. It would have been irresponsible to have gone on for my family and everything, with compromised steering. And I'm glad I made it. It was difficult, but overcoming that decision and just deciding, that was very good, I felt. And I was glad, I was proud of myself. Instead of going, I could chance it, but you can't. Anyone that say it, you know that, you just, you can't take those chances. So I was delighted I made that decision, tough and all as it was. And that's what I suppose what sailing is about, is keeping your head, making these tough decisions, isn't it?
So I recall from being a fan and following you on your social feeds, which were excellent, by the way, very real. I recall you at some point then thereafter saying, I'm going to do this. Okay, it's not non-stop, but it's still solo. So much has gone into this. So many people have supported me. I'm going to keep going.
Yeah, I could have kept going and still have done a circumnavigation from Tenerife back to Tenerife.
Mm-hmm.
There was kind of a lot of people said it just wasn't meant to be. The universe didn't play. I had big problems getting parts from England that I needed. There was a delay with them. Then they got stuck in customs in Tenerife. I had other parts engineered and made, and one of them I wasn't happy with and I had to have it remade, and so there was a lot of delays. So I was already a week behind after I left the anchorage in Portugal. So I was nearly 5 weeks behind my schedule, and I had to make the decision whether I wanted to go on and be late for the Southern Ocean. I had a lot of people working out times and that for me, as well as myself, and it was looking like I would have been at Cape Horn in April, which I didn't really want. It wasn't ideal. Should have been January, February is what I was planning. So February ideally, I think. So I decided to call it a day and to sail back, and that's what I did. I got the last part that was machined dropped to me by a motorbike at 9 in the evening. I had it in by midnight and I was gone at 6 in the morning. That's how tight it was with, and I would have liked to have tested that system properly before I had left. You know, so I mean, I had a good sail up past Madeira. I could have stopped there if there was a problem, but it all worked well, and I continued on back.
So you were at sea, steering's banjaxed, done all you can to repair it. You know it's going to get worse. You've mentally made the decision to pull into Tenerife and finish the non-stop. At what point did you feel, I call it the weight of the rucksack, you know, when you're hiking and you finally take your rucksack off? At what point did you feel the weight of the planned trip, of the worry of the steering, of the worry of your life, lift? Or was there no weight?
Oh, there was weight. It was funny, when I got into the marine, I had no fenders. I had nothing, because I was going non-stop around the world, but that's another story. But they thought I was mad. Put out your fenders. I said, I don't have any. But I used cockpit cushions and stuff. And I bought some. But the weight lifted only when I decided to sail back. When I decided, all the time I was in Tenerife, I was under serious pressure. Get the boat fixed, get it fixed, and continue for the weather window. And it was quite stressful when I was there. Even though it was a lovely location, I didn't see much of it. But so it's only when I decided to sail back. I was on my way back, and I could see Madeira, and then I was kind of going, okay, I'm actually, this is it, I'm on the way back. It was only then that I actually could breathe again.
Now, I noticed, as many others did, you had a lot of followers and supporters at this point.
Yeah, I didn't realise that until I stopped. Because I did have email at sea, but I didn't have obviously Facebook or Instagram or YouTube or anything like that. Yeah, and the comments and the help and support I got from that was huge. Because don't forget, like when I got to Tenerife, when I made that decision, it was heartbreaking. It was not easy to, you know, there was a lot of work and prep. Not just by me went into that trip, you know. So the comments that started coming in, and people I didn't know, you know, strangers from all over the world, just telling me, you know, it's great what you did, don't worry, you know, the support was great, and it did really help, you know, it was lovely. It was good support. Then when I got in the marina, a lot of people in the marina had been following me. And then when I got back to Portugal, a lot of cruisers there from Ireland, from everywhere, traveling around, and they were all really supportive and helpful, and offering to, if I could, you know, get parts, or do I need diesel, and a great bunch. Everyone minds each other, don't they? Which is lovely.
And so, talking of support, you had initially, before you started, you built up a following naturally through social media channels that, from what I can gather, you had never been involved in before. So you were naturally, organically, as they call it, build up a big following. And in addition, a lot of small sponsors, big sponsors, buying you kits or different types of support. Your decision to stop, did that weigh heavy on your mind?
Yeah, that's a very good question, because as you said, I never used social media or made videos or did anything like that before. So when I decided to make the decision, it almost felt it wasn't my decision. And I had a lot of sponsors that had given equipment and money. And I was almost afraid to say it, that I was deciding not to. And I learned a lot from that, because the minute I made my decision, all the sponsors just said, good decision, safety is first, which was great. It was such a relief to me. And all the followers were just fantastic. They were just saying, we don't care where you go, we're going to follow you. I was saying, wow. That's what a lot of people said, and there wasn't one nasty comment. Everything was so it was a big relief. That sounds funny because it was my decision, but it almost felt like it wasn't. It's hard to explain that, but so no, everyone was fantastic. The sponsors were all great. And I decided I decided to fly to Portugal, get the boat and sail it back, and in August I'm going to set sail again to try complete the solo non-stop circumnavigation
From
from Ireland back to Ireland.
Ireland back to Ireland.
Yeah.
Do you know what port we're going to depart from?
I'm not sure yet. Probably KILRUSH.
Ah, super. I'm sure Simon McGivney will be very pleased to hear that. You certainly got a great welcome there in the yard, I think, and the support again
it was a
from the
fantastic
locals
place.
there.
For the fit out, it was just perfect. With the travel hoist, the yard, with Steve Morris being there, and there's so much. It was just ideal.
It's wonderful to have such a facility on our west coast. I think we're very
and a great location to kick off from as well. You're straight out into the Atlantic.
Exciting into some tide and swell straight off. Yeah.
No, I love it there. I fell in love with KILRUSH. Beautiful.
I didn't manage to make the send off, but I did watch it again on your social feeds, and the atmosphere was fantastic. So please make sure I get your date, because I'd love to be able to wave you off next time. Now, we have the map behind you, which, honest guys, we didn't fix this. We found this room and it happened to have a map of the world in it, here upstairs in the bookshop in Knightstown. And so, Peter, would you mind, I'm going to try and maneuver this camera as you stand up, would you mind showing us where you are going to obviously start from, which is Ireland, and what your route will be, explaining the seas maybe, if you could, to people?
Yeah, sometime in August I'll leave Ireland and cross Biscay, hopefully pick up the Portuguese trades down to the Canaries, to Cape Verde, down to the south, and then under the first Cape, under Australia, under New Zealand, and back along under the famous Cape Horn, sail up to Nile, and back up past the Azores, and back to Ireland.
Ah, sure. That seems simple enough, doesn't it?
Yeah, and avoid the whales this time.
Oh my goodness, yes. So we were talking actually earlier about the hit, but we didn't say what it was. So you said avoid the whales. So we think it was a whale that you may have hit, the bang.
I'll never know, and I suppose it doesn't really matter, because I was trying to figure it out for so long, but I dived down and examined the rudder, and it's perfect. There's no marks on it. So if it was something floating, it would have. I presume, especially with the location, that maybe one just swam into the rudder. I can't be certain, but it's most probable.
And tell me, I've read a lot of stories about the whales off the Spanish coast, is it? Or was it off the Portuguese coast? I'm not sure. So was it that region orcas, where the whales, the orcas are?
Yeah, they're causing havoc down there. And I had to sail in past that as well to get in there and back out. So I was quite nervous going back in.
Yeah.
I was thinking, lightning would never strike twice, but I don't know, but it's a big problem there.
Now, can I just ask, in the Southern Atlantic, obviously we're not looking at a globe here, we're looking at a flat map. You went a long way over to South America there. You went quite wide. Is that because the winds will bring you out there?
Yeah, you'd have to trade here, because otherwise you'd have headwinds, or you'd go nearly all the way down here before you'd nearly down into the 40s. You'd imagine you could just go straight there, but it doesn't work that way.
Now, one of the subjects that we're trying to cover overall at this online conference, storytelling as it is overcoming challenges. And this is a big challenge. Obviously, we've gone through the enormous prep that you put in for the challenge. How many years or months have you been preparing for this?
A lifetime, I suppose, really. I've been dreaming of it for years, and then, well, full on, I suppose, 2 years. So, yeah, there was a lot of time 14-hour days for the last 8 months, I suppose, non-stop. I was just more or less living in Kilrush. So that's why I was saying it was a huge decision mentally, to have to stop, because I was still, I broke the journey up into chapters, let's say, or segments, and I was still trying to. It's hard to explain, but it was hard to stop all that. That's all I had thought about for so long.
When you mean stop all that, you mean you're still in those segments now, in your mind? So today, if you were still sailing around the world, where would you be? You know exactly.
I had to stop. I was still, even though I was in Tenerife, I was still watching my forecast where I'd be. Then when I got back to Portugal, I was still watching the forecast where I'd be, and I had to stop that because I wasn't there. I had to come back to reality.
If you don't
and
mind.
I still peep in and look at what the weather is like. But so making the new decision to go on and try it again now this August is great, because that has stopped all that. Now I'm focusing on the prep again and sponsorship and all that. So it's good. I have a whole new mindset.
It's almost like mourning someone. When you lose someone, you imagine, I would normally walk down this street with them, or I would normally choose the biscuits that they buy.
I don't know.
Yeah? Wow, interesting. So now, how do you feel?
I feel great. I love a project and a challenge, and I'm back in on it. And I can't wait to get to Portugal and get the boat and sail back. It'd be lovely to sail back.
You're going to leave the west coast of Ireland in August 2022. And when would you envisage you'll be returning to the west coast of Ireland?
April 23, perhaps. Thanks again. Waxwing out.